All right, guys, we're going to transform your photograms into something supernatural by adding another layer of a different image on top of your photogram. You can create things you never would have imagined you could create. So the first thing you're going to want to do is open your image. And if it's not already open, you can go to Open Image and then just find it in your downloads or wherever you've been able to find them. And it will give you the image full screen like this. Now what we're going to want to do is try to think about different images that might complement your photogram. And that's kind of an abstract concept, but what I was thinking with this one was, first of all, well, I've got food here, so why don't I find some food images? Pixlr has these great stock images available. If you go to File, Stock Search, you can look for anything imaginable. And since I had grapes, I actually looked for fruit. And you can open any one of these images. I like that one. And it'll open in a separate window, at which point, now really folks, there's no way to know for sure what it's going to look like until you just play around. So just try a bunch of stuff. That's the key. I've now opened this image of grapefruits, and it's opened in a separate window. My photogram is still there under another tab. And so we're going to select all and edit, copy. And we're going to go back to the photogram demo, my photogram image, and we're going to go to edit, paste. And as you can see, my other image was completely obliterated, but not so fast. Now you have this amazing capacity to blend and overlay, and that is achieved by going up to the new layer here, which is my fruit layer, which is now on top of the photogram. We're going to click on the three dots, and it's going to offer us all sorts of different options. And those are under the blend mode. Right now there's none, but if we go to multiply, automatically you see something amazingly cool happen. If you don't think that's cool, look again. It's cool. There's a universe of cool in this list of options. So let's just stay with multiply for a second. The other thing you can do is, once we've multiplied it, is we can tweak the transparency to make it kind of subtle, old, rustic, or bold and contemporary. Screen does something very different. That becomes more of a background, which is also kind of cool. Lighter, darken is pretty awesome. Color dodge, color burn. And again, as you try these, just tweak the transparency too to see something very different. Exclusion is kind of crazy. You can see it kind of gives opposite colors. And when it's to a point where you like it, if you just click in the background, that will essentially apply this step. In other words, that's like hitting the return bar or button. Now, another great feature that you have here is that you can actually click on it and you can move that background around and align it in a way that it just makes more sense and is more visually just aesthetic, more pleasing. For example, you want to look at some of the key features and see where something lines up. to make it maybe more bold or more of a point of interest. But as you'll see here on the left side, I'm cutting off the edge of the image, but that can be changed. You'll notice the blue box on the outside, and that's so we can stretch or squish that photo, that overlay, all we want. And now I zoomed way out with my mouse, just with the scroll wheel, and look what I can do. And we can make this thing look very, very different by adjusting how big or small it is. Now, one thing that I saw that looked like a pretty good alignment was this kind of star shape in the center of the grapefruit. Sort of makes sense right there on the spork, because this is a large blank area that now becomes kind of a focal point. And so I'll just tweak that around a little bit until I get it where I like it. That's pretty interesting. Okay, again, I'm going to just click in the background, and that's as if we're hitting return. Now, one other thing that you can do is play around with the color a little bit. So if we go up to adjustment, hue and saturation, you can tweak the hue and saturation and just make these colors something very much unlike what they really are. So what we need to do here is click on colorize, and that allows us to tweak these colors in a fairly monochromatic and somewhat limited way, but in some instances that can really make an interesting effect depending on your taste. Now, in this particular case, I thought it was pretty cool just to have it with those colors, taking advantage of those colors. So we'll cancel that out. Then what you want to do, once you get it the way you like it, you get everything arranged, just go to File, Save, give it a unique name. I'm calling these things Photogram. Call this Grapefruit Blend. Grapefruit Blend, yeah. Save it as a JPEG, download, bingo. Pretty cool. Okay, let me show you some others really quick. You don't want to see that. That's pretty cool stuff, but that's not what you want to see. I'll just open them up from my saved images. Okay, here's another one I made earlier where I just searched for an image of city. And I moved the image around until the profile of this guy's head kind of landed on the spork. And I thought that worked pretty well. I did another couple where I overlaid a face. Let's see if I can find those. So I started with this one. And again, I went to stock search, and I think I put portrait. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if she'll come up again. But a portrait came up that I liked. It was black and white. And I came up with that. And I was pretty conscious of where I was placing the eyes. I really wanted the eyes to show up. I wasn't completely satisfied with that one, but I saved it and I kept playing around with it until I got one that I thought was much more dynamic. So I decided that actually getting rid of her eyes and making that negative space almost become a black mask was pretty interesting and pretty striking. So I saved that one, and then I went back and tried another little color manipulation on that one to make it, to just see if I could make it even a little more interesting. And I think we ended up with something pretty cool. So to go from just the standard, let's see, do I have the standard anymore? I don't think I have my basic one anymore up here. But to go from this one, or from this one, then to this one, to this one, I thought made for a pretty cool progression. Anyway, it's fun to explore. Try lots of different overlays, different subject matter, move it around, stretch it until it kind of lines up in interesting ways. Tweak the transparency of the layer that you're overlaying, and you will see lots of different effects. All right, guys, good luck. It will be awesome.